Welcome everyone. Today I am planning to explain about Blazor. Let's learn step by step. I am Alok Kumar Pandey. Uh, so let's talk about little bit Blazor. Blazor is free and open source web framework that enables us to create interactive web application with the help of C Sharp and HTML, and it's a part of ASP.NET Core. Blazor run everywhere in any browser, and the good thing is we not need to install any plugin, and we can do the entire development with the help of C Sharp. And sometime we if we need, we can do the integration with JavaScript too. So Blazor is basically based on the WebAssembly, which runs on server, and browser can interpret it with the help of WebAssembly. And uh, the benefit that we can run with this .NET. So let's move on for how the thing is constructed in ASP.NET Core. So entire area is same. As you can see, MVC, we have a razor pages, we have a single page application model, and we have a Blazor model. So all the things that we do with MVC and razor pages, we can also do with the Blazor, and it's really a powerful uh, framework that helps us to build an interactive web application. So as we are doing from very beginning, so first let's talk about why Blazor. So if you are C sharp developer and you want to utilize your knowledge for building web application without learning the new frameworks that are exist for the single page application like React, Angular, etc. So as a C sharp developer, we can utilize our known skill that we know from ASP.NET Web Form, ASP.NET Core, and with C Sharp. So with the help of C Sharp and few HTML knowledge, we can start building an interactive web application with Blazor. And of course, we have a many features loaded with a Blazor. So we'll explore step by step slowly. So what we can build with the Blazor? Actually, we can build web application, websites, game, mobile application too, and also hybrid application for desktop application as well. With that, we have to know a few things like in Blazor, everything is component. If we want to create anything like button or any UI, uh, whatever it is, small or bigger one, so everything is component in Blazor. So basically the component utilizes our directives, and we have a razor syntax where we have something called as page directives, and we have a bind attributes. So bind attributes works with our input elements, whereas our page directives work for the URLs, where we can directly navigate to the component that is of uh, defined type. In our demo, we have to look on this page directive and binds. With that, there is a few convention in Blazor naming, component naming. If you want to create any component, then component name must start with the uppercase. So this one is termed as a valid type of naming convention, and this is invalid. So whenever we create a component, we follow the Pascal casing, and we have a term routing. So in single page application, everything is done with this routing for the navigation purposes. So in our Blazor also, we have a one starting point of application, that is f.razor file, and where we can found that our application is going to scan for the assembly, and all the routes are collected. And if someone is requesting with any URL, if it exists, the router will navigate on that. Otherwise we will get the address is not found kind of message. So this is the default template that was generated in the application. So this is what we need to understand for the routing purpose in Blazor. And with that, we have options to pass the pair parameters in the components. So with our C# classes, we can create a parameters for the component, and we can decorate the parameter with the parameters as I show in the slide. So in this way, we can pass the data from one component, like one component to other as well, and in the same component from UI to this our C# logic. And with that, we have a navigation manager as well. So if we have to navigate from one component, one page to another page or somewhere with the C#, then we have a navigation manager, and we can inject this navigation manager with the DI that comes with ASP.NET. So this is a inbuilt navigation manager feature inside our Blazor. We have to use it while building the single page application. And today I am planning to show the demo something kind of customer lists, so where we utilize all the points that we just discussed. So let's start for the demo. uh, so I have a Blazor. Let's start with Blazor WebAssembly app. So I'm going to create a new web application, and the name that I want to go with the project is something Blazor demo, and I want to store this project inside this Blazor demo folder, and then I will say next. And in this option we just check for the HTTPS. For others we will come later, and I am working with the currently .NET 7.0 Visual Studio 2022. With that, let's create a new project. So it will be ready. As you can see, we have a default template that is generated by the Visual Studio for the Blazor WebAssembly app. So what we do, this is a similar kind of application that will be generated for the web browser pages, and look and feels are similar. Uh, as we know, as a ASP.NET developer, C# developer, everything start with this one. So for now, I want to comment this line. We do use in later phases for this one. And with that, what I want to do, I want to go inside this one. Here we have a few ready-made component, so I want to delete these two components. Actually we are not going to use them, so let's delete them. With that, I think we have to know how the things work. So here is our app.razor that I shown you in the slide. So all the routing will be done from here, and this one is something common import area. If we have some namespace that we use regularly, we can use this import.razor to import the commonly used namespaces. And then we have a navigation manager. So as I deleted this counter and fetch, so let me remove this one. So with that, what I want to do, I want to fix my navigation manager as our plan demo. So I want to add one navigation for the customer list. So I want to go in my component for this customer list, and this is the something that we have to navigation manager. And then I want to create a component. So the name of the component that I am planning to build is like a customer list. So let me add it first. So inside our pages, I will do add one component, razor component, and the name of the component is customer list. With that we will add it, and then I do not want to use this code model. I want to go with a code behind model. So what I can do, I can add a class with the same name, but with a customer list razor.cs, so that Visual Studio automatically detect this one. And if I will do the add, you can see it is automatically added over here. And then I want to, oh, I did some mistake. Let me add one class, that is razor component, and what we'll say, no, not razor component, but a code behind class, that is normal C# class. So we'll say customer dot razor.cs, then so now let's add code behind class for this one. And as we have the same name, so we can add a partial over here, so that we can write our code behind file. And if you are worked with a .NET framework, then you remember the code behind file, very similar to that. Now with that, what I want to do, I want to add one existing project for my entity purpose. So what I will do, I do add existing project, and in the existing project I have a one entity.shared folder. So this one I want to add so that I can use my existing classes. So here I have a simple class. One is for the country and one is for the customer. So this very simple class that I'm going to use for this project. So let's do the reference in this project. So I want to reference that my class library, so that we can quickly build a small UI. And with that, what I want to do, I want to add some dummy data so that we can show. I will add one folder named as models, and here I want to add one class that in coming time will replace with the real web service. But for now I am going to create a one dummy class, dummy data service, and within this dummy data service, what I want to do, I want to just create two properties for the country and my customer. And then what I want to do, I will generate a few dummy data for the country and like customer. So here is some static data that I want to list inside the page that we had created for the planning to create. And now I want to just return as a property this data like customer and countries. With this, our dummy data is ready. Now in our this customer list, to list the customer, we need some UI so that we can show that So in my code behind file, what I want to do, I want to create two properties. One is for the customer and one is for the customer list. So this one we're going to use um, for the pop-up purpose, and this one is for the hard-coded customers. So we can do the override from this customer list, like this is the component. So if I want to override any existing method, what I can do, I can ask with Visual Studio, and we need uninitialized. So this one what we need to override. And while overwriting, for now what I will do, I will use my dummy data service so that I can get some hard-coded customers, and I want to create one method that we will use for the pop-up. So basically this is a one void method I created with the show customer pop-up, and we will pass this customer from the UI, and we will set this UI, this value. So this is all that we do in code behind, and in our UI we not need code as we are using code behind model. So for the customer list, what I'm planning to load, first thing, like we have to add the page directive. So page that we want to use this one by the name of customer list. So this is the customer list that we want, and now we want one heading to display. So basically this is our customer list, and we want to say if our customer is not null, then we can show kind of loading. So if it's null, else what we can show, if the customer is not null, then we can show the customer. So for now what I will do, we can list all the customers, or to list the customer we can create a component. So let's create one more folder and create a one component that we can use inside this our listing component. So we'll say folder name component, co components. So inside my components, what I want to build now, I want to build a customer card, so that I can use this one to list customer inside my customer list. So in this component, let's add a razor component, and let's name it customer card, and just like this one we will add a code behind for this one too. So this is basically our normal C# class with the same name .cs extension, and what we will do, we will make it partial this one, so that Visual Studio is stop complaining about this, and now we not need this code behind. And in this section what I want to build, I want to first need to create some values so that we can use it. So for now I want to create two parameters over here in this CS file, so that we can send the property. One is for customer and one is for the quick view click. So we are going to use the callback, and let me create UI for this one. So for now I just want some HTML, and I need to close the open divs. Now this one will show the customer names for now, and now for the pop-up we can create another component, that is customer pop-up. So when someone click on the button, we can show the pop-up too. So let's add one more component, that is also a Blazor component with the name customer pop-up. And again for this one too, we'll add a class for the code behind, as we are C# developer, so we'll have to have a code behind now. And then we'll say partial, and with this partial we not need this code behind, but in our this customer pop-up we also need to add some code behind code. So that I want to create now. If someone pass the value, then set it, else just so we have one customer when on parameter set. So in the component we have an option, when someone set the parameter, this method will be invoked and we can set the value of customer. And as soon as someone close the pop-up, we can call this method. And now we have to design the UI. So I already had created the UI, and this is nothing but very simple HTML tags that we can get from the bootstrap. So basically this is model pop-up, and what I'm doing, actually I'm doing the check if customer is not null, then show the customer customer ID and first name, last name, and whatever the property we have, date of birth, email ID. And if someone call close, then we can call this close method, and close method will do the customer null. And as we have written, if it's null, then nothing will be shown here. So Blazor will do the job. If null, then the pop-up is going to be closed. Now the pop-up part is also done, and customer card is also ready. Now let's use this customer card inside our customer list. So in our else section, what we can do, we can use that. So for the pop-up, we can say this is the pop-up, and you can see we need to import the namespace for this one so that it can recognize our customer pop-up. So as if we try to resolve over here, so this one will say you can use this using, but in place of writing using everywhere, what we can do, we can use our this import.razor section, so that we not have to write this everywhere, because we are using the component everywhere. Now this one is customer pop-up, and this one is selected customer. If you remember, we created over here selected customer. We are setting the value, we are calling this method. So in our customer list, we created the pop-up, and now we need to loop inside the list so that we can bind the list of customer. So for every customer, just go and create a customer, set the customer value, and show the customer pop-up. If someone, that is the callback value that we have inside our this customer card. So if someone is doing the callback, so this is how we are going to get the value. uh, let's see if it works or not. We already added navigation over here for customer list. So let's try to run this one uh, and see the output for now. So we have a Blazor app that is having our customer list. So it's ready now. Let's see what we are going to get. So here is our customer list. If I will try to reach in my customer list, you can see now we have a 3 customer, as we have 3 dummy data in our this project. So if you see in our dummy data, we have 3 customers. We have 3 customers, 1 2 3, and that is loaded in our UI. Now if someone do the click, I need to add the button to show the pop-up. So let's add that too. So in our customer list, what we can do in customer card actually, so we need to add a button so that we can do the call. So in our customer card, just after this H4 closing, what we can do, we can add some buttons. So let me add button over here. So I need to close the div and here is our on click. So we are writing lambda expression. We are going to invoke this method and we are passing the customer. So basically this one is the button. So it's going to use our callback. Similarly, if we want to navigate with the link, we can also do that by href tag too. So this one will redirect our user into the customer detail page, and we'll pass the customer ID as a parameter, and we not have created this one yet. So we need to create this one too. So let's create that page too. We need to create one more page for the detail so that we can navigate. So let's add one more Blazor component, and the name is customer detail. So what we can do, we can create one more page level component, customer detail.razor, and again what we do, we delete all these and we add one code behind class so that we can write separately our logic. So as the name is same, we have to add the partial. Now it's code behind, and for the detail logic of code behind, what we need to have a customer. So we need a parameter customer ID, and customer we have to set, we can write like protected, or we can ask Visual Studio to generate as well, protected override, and this time we will use async because in coming time we have to uninitialize async. So this one is what we need for now. In our coming examples, we'll replace this hardcode service with the real API. So I'm trying to utilize like customer service. So with the customer ID, I'm going to filter that, and we need to have a kind of page directive that will accept the URL. So in the URL, what we will say, @page and customer detail, and here we have a customer ID that we are going to pass as a parameter over here. Now this is the way how user will navigate in our component. And now for the detail, I have some ready-made HTML so that we can decorate it little bit in different way. So this is nothing but just use a property. So what we are doing, basically we are just setting the customer property over here, first name, last name, etc., so that we can see the detail. And how we get this customer? Simple, uninitialized when someone is calling, so we'll get this customer ID and we are getting that data. So in our next demos, what we'll do, we'll replace this hardcode data with the real API. Now this customer detail is also ready. So let's back to our this. So here we are navigating to our customer detail with customer ID, and we can do the same thing with the button click as well. That is also very similar to the above one. So what we can do, just I am providing different ways. So now if we want to navigate with the button on that page, we need to have a navigation manager that can navigate us from one page to another page. So let's create a property, one method for the navigation manager. So what we can do in our customer card, we will add navigation manager. So this is the navigation manager. What we are doing with this navigation manager, we are navigating to customer detail page with the help of customer ID. So in this way, if we try to run, then hope we can do show the pop-up, as well as we can navigate onto the next page too. So if everything is okay, I hope we can show the, so we have a name and here we have a links. So if I want to see view pop-up, so here we have pop-up. We'll try different one, and this one will redirect on the customer detail, and this one will also do the same job. So in this by using the different things, we are able to list the customer with the help of properties and navigation manager and some HTML and C# knowledge. And as you can see, this is running on purely browser. So with that, today's what I had planned completed now. So thank you so much